Okay, to my Africans, this was actually from South Africa, but I want you guys all to see this is actually a concern to all of us. I'm an African myself, and I use the MTN SIM card. I'm an MTN customer. Basically, I buy data, I buy MTN at times. Well, they have been cheating me. I don't know how they calculated that, but I don't know. Recently, how the data expire is outrageous. Ghanaians have been crying about that. South Africans are crying, but well, the CEO of MTN in South Africa came out recently to explain to us how the data is being the expiry and how they are to deduct their money and how things work. And some people were not pleased with the whole solutions he gave. So let's dive inside and see what it actually meant. So this one says the CEO of MTN SA clarifies why network providers have an expiry date for data using the analogy of paid parking lots for simplification. Well, so let's see the whole thing and how he came about his explanation. Okay, let's go see.
The data expiry one, it just makes me think on, just to maybe highlight to the committee that the network is a finite resource. So the network does not exist in infinity, it's finite. So when you price for the network as a matter of principle, you need to price with the resource allocation in mind. So when I price and I create demand on my network, how much of the demand can I be able to sustain and can I be able to support? So for instance, if you were to say, I come to Parliament, there's a parking lot, there's a bay there, I pay for it, and then you say to Parliament, I'm going to be back here next year in March, and my parking bay must always be open for me, because when I decide to use it one day at night, during the day, in the morning, on a Sunday, next week, next month, I must find my bay available. Here's what will happen to Parliament. To allocate that, they're going to have to create and build more parking bays. Because everybody who decides to come back later to access what they paid for will have to find that facility available. So when we do this, it is never to mislead. It is only because we're saying 7-day bundle, 3-day bundle, 1-hour bundle, we're giving it to you because we look at the resource on our network to say, for this volume of usage, we can afford to allocate the following resources because we don't have an overextended envelope in terms of capital expenditure. So it's really a construct that was never really meant to mislead. It is confusing? Yes. Can the consumer sometimes find annoying? Correct. But when you apply the principle of resource allocation and you understand that Parliament cannot leave the parking base to one individual who will come back in the next 12 months and they must find available. If you buy a ticket to Mtata, you can't say I'm going to use it again in December next year. And every time I want to get into a bus, I must find my ticket available. You can't, because what will happen is that the provider of this service must create as many buses as possible for the sporadic level of demand that has been created.
And maybe I can join my fellow CEO and give a separate example to try and explain the matter which has been spoken about at length. The data pricing that we price for is based on how we dimension the network. So we say this is what we need to input into the network to create the network to be able to carry the data, and therefore we charge on the basis of that. If one was looking at the price of making something fully available all of the time, it is obviously more expensive than dimensioning it differently at different times. And so to buy a data bundle is not like buying a loaf of bread. Buying a data bundle is buying access to something, almost like buying a Gautrain ticket. You can buy a Gautrain ticket for a week, for 2 days, for a return for a month, and it's the access that it's giving you to that service. To just reiterate and maybe use it in this example, if you were creating an endless accessibility to something, it would almost be saying that you want to build a 5-lane highway right across the country because it must always be able to take 5 cars at the same time. And you would build that road network, if I'm just using roads as an example, you would build a 5-lane highway all across the network through every road. The end result of that, Honorable Chair, is it will actually push data costs up. So the very fact of bringing the validities down is an ability that we have and a tool that we have used to make the entry points more affordable for people who want to use them at a more affordable entry point. And therefore we dimension the network accordingly that way. That's part of the journey. The longer validities are available on the network. But you'll see that the shorter validities, and another honorable member spoke about prepaid, actually those bundles are cheaper. Because there are pro-poor bundles, because they are within the poorest towns that we have, the top 2,000 towns and so on. So those two things are linked, and that's how one should look at and think about these things.
Okay, so that is his takes though, and that is not only the MTN CEO though, there was also the Vodacom CEO out there. In Ghana we call it Telecel. Yeah, Vodafone Telecel, yeah. Then the CEO in South Africa, both of them were actually out there explaining how they actually deducting our data when it's expiry. When the data is not finished, but you meet your deadline as expiry date, and Friday deduct the 10. So these were their solutions or their conclusion they are making about this whole issue. And as an African, you watch the whole thing. It's a 4-minute long video, you watched it. What is your take concerning, how do you see their logics and their explanation to you? Was that enough for you? Or do you think it's okay? Well, for me, when I watched the whole explanations, it was okay for me in a business perspective. It means business as usual. You need to make profits, so that's it. They cannot actually not make it non-expiry, and then they have to use it. No, they have to make it non-expiry. Then you see, you have bought a thing, okay? You have yet to exhaust the whole thing. Then they take it back. That is their profit margin there, okay? So hopefully, if you are able to use the exact bundle you are purchasing at the right time, you are also a winning situation here. But if you are less in a way to win or to exhaust your bundle, it's a winning situation for them. Okay, so it's something like you should know the kind of bundle you are buying and the time you are in, and if you'll be able to exhaust it, that is a good deal. Okay, that is how it works for them. So business perspective, they are right. They are making their coins, but as a customer base, you are feeling cheated here. Because why should I pay for something and you're just giving expiry dates? Why don't you then give me the normal price for the thing with non-expiry? That one too, it will be too much expensive and it will be too costly too. We are dying with this. This is too much business stress, but I know Africans, we are not ready for that conversation yet. We'll see this. So this one thing, he says, using this analogy, you go to a butcher and buy half a lamb or a full lamb. You do not finish it within a week or two. The butcher then come to your home, open your fridge, freezer, and take away the meat and restock his butchery. So that's an African there. He's saying that, what are you people saying? Are you telling me that with this analogy, I will just go into a shop, go and buy a lamb from a butcher, about 1 or 2 lamb, and then I went home, I'm not able to finish it, then a week or two, the butcher will just come back my home, take it from my fridge and just restock it and sell it again? Is that what you're saying? Well, my brother, you may be right, but you're wrong at the same time. The analogy here you're using, there's 2 different things. There's a goods and there's services. The butcher is a goods, but the MTN are providing you a service. So there's 2 different ways here. So your analogy also fall flat here. That's why I said that for business purposes, they are in line. They are not breaking laws. But it just sounds cheating to the customers. But they are not wrong though. Alright? But hopefully they can just be a little more flexible with us. That's the only thing we can say right now. But we cannot blame them much for that aspect. That's pretty simple here. Again, this one says a good analogy. I have my grips with these service providers, but his point is valid and does well to explain the reasons for their pricing models. Okay, another African here, and he agrees with them. He says that this is a good analogy, and then he used to have more issues with the service providers, but now, based on his explanations, he actually understands the whole point of view here. Again, this one says no, it doesn't, Chris. Expiry motivates users to buy new tokens regularly. Unused airtime is a liability on the provider's balance sheet. Expiry helps them write it off. When users forget or lose track of airtime, the company keeps the money without providing services. It deceived. Another person is actually disagreeing with their takes and analogy and saying that it's still theft and they are not treating us fairly. And again, this one says that is nonsense. They know it's nonsense. We all know it's nonsense. They know we are known it's nonsense. They don't care. Bro was saying that, he's saying that is nonsense. They know it's nonsense. We know it's nonsense. They know we know it's nonsense. They don't care. Well, basically, that is summary to the whole issue. The thing is nonsense. They know it's nonsense though. It's business as usual, but it's nonsense. But it's plain smart. We also know it's nonsense, but we also know there's business they are doing. So they need profits. It's nonsense. But you all know it's nonsense. But no, who cares? They don't care. but they can at least do something flexible for us, but they don't care. It's business as usual. And business is business. So that is the summary to the whole issue. One is saying that everything here is nonsense. It's just nonsense, bro. And again, this one says it's not that we don't get it, it's that we don't believe him because he's lying. Exactly. A lot of people understand the analogy and now they understand his explanation very well. They do. But it's just that it's too much, bro. You just have to do something because it's too much. The economy is rising. There's inflation everywhere in African continent. You guys need to also to save your customers also. Just do some packages for us also. It will help us. But this brother right here is not happy still. He's saying that smoke and mirrors. The network providers describe it like that, so that they can make a lot of profits out of our users and they cannot and should not have it both ways. They cannot charge excessive prices for data and also take away your unused data at the end of the month. If they want to take away your data, then they must drop the data prices drastically or refund people for unused data. The government should really step in here and bring in some laws. Otherwise, the network providers will continue with their unethical practice if one loses a lot of other countries. You will see how we are getting rid of with the data and even with voices trying to stop this nonsense. Data is a major enabler for income and revenue. With such huge data cost on mobile networks, it's hampering growth. And lastly, this one says, I think Starlink should come true because these companies don't take us serious. Well, man is actually not happy. The first take though, he said, what do you mean by this is a good idea or this is a good analogy? These guys should not be the one to decide if your data is being expiry, they will take it or not, or they should not also be at the end of the table to also decide the price to when we are to buy the data, because you are selling the data to us expensively, and then you are also taking back your money if you are yet to exhaust the data too. That is complete cheating. Man is saying that he doesn't agree. It doesn't matter how analogy or how sense they are making, he is still not happy with the situation. And he believes that they are not supposed to have such a biggest upper hand on the whole issue like that. And lastly, one is saying that, well, he thinks it's about time South Africa gets to have Starlink in South Africa. Let's see your takes and view at the comment section. Let me see what you think about this whole thing and how you believe that MTN are ripping us off. The name is Vidal This African Time. See you guys around for more content as usual. See you guys around.